A lot of people will get discouraged from singing because of vocal strain. They'll feel a lot of tension, or it'll hurt their voice, or they'll lose their voice even. I'll start by saying that amount is very important, like the frequency of your use. If you're talking or singing all the time, even if you're using perfect technique, you're still gonna exhaust your voice. Vocal fatigue is still coming for you. It'll come for everybody. So you want to be careful that you're not using your voice too much or too often. Volume is another thing. You don't want to go too loud, okay? If you sing too loud, then that can also do a serious number on your throat. And then beyond that, this is where we get into nitty-gritty vocal technique and protection. It's all about placement. It's all about vocal placement. Tonal placement is another word for this. To articulate it, generally you should not try to force your voice or morph your voice into something it isn't. This is a mistake a lot of vocalists make. They'll be like, for example, you'll be really inspired by this one artist who has a really distinct voice. You'll really, really love the way they sound. And sure, they're a great inspiration to you, but trying to make your voice sound like theirs, that's not the way. No bueno. That is not good. If you force your voice in any direction too far, that will have adverse effects, and you'll get the opposite of what you're hoping for. It'll make it harder for you to sing. You won't be able to sing for as long. And depending on the vocal inspiration that you're aiming for, it could actually destroy your voice long term. So yeah, you want to be very careful not to force your voice in any direction that's different. Some people, it's hard to give you a one-size-fits-all for this, because it all depends on how your voice is built. You know, it's all about the structure of your throat and of your head and just what comes out naturally for you. But sometimes you need to adjust your natural placement a little bit. For me, a bad habit that I used to have is that I was always really insecure, especially among men, for having a very clown-like voice. I've always felt that my voice was really bright. And sometimes my friends would kind of pick on me for it. But, you know, that's just the way guys are. That's just how we hang out. We clown on each other for things. But in the past, both when I was speaking and when I was singing, I would deliberately darken my voice because I was insecure about that. And so, especially when singing, it was a really bad habit. I would get myself in trouble. I would lose my voice sometimes because I deliberately forced like if I had sung Satellite even just 4 years ago, it would have sounded like, just like a satellite, I'm spinning around all night, oh yeah. That's how I would have sung that before. But you know, it has an appealing sound, I think. I think there are people that would like that sound, but it's really uncomfortable for me. It's really just not how I naturally sing. And doing that long term is really, really unhealthy for me. But likewise, you know, on the flip side, actually, there are people where that is the best way for them to sing. That is the most natural way for other people to sing. So it's all about just, you know, not forcing yourself in any direction. It's all about having fun and sticking with what is natural to you, what is comfortable. Everybody has a unique voice. There are no two voices in this world that sound identical. And it's all about really just owning what you have rather than seeking something you don't have. You can build on what you have a little bit. I know I've talked about this a little bit, right? Like, I'd love to be able to sing higher and sing more strongly when I'm singing high. So I can do exercises to expand my range. But I should not be trying to sing high like Mafu Mafu, for example. That it's a voice that's very different from mine in so many ways. I should not be aiming for that. And if I tried to, even if I could get close in the end after lots of work, it would not be good for me and it would not be sustainable for me, even if it's sustainable for him. You know what I mean? So yeah, you just want to make sure that you're staying in a healthy position for you. I mentioned that like darkening my voice was a really bad habit for me, but for other people, it would be really strenuous and painful for them to really brighten their voice. You know what I mean? Sometimes it helps to have a vocal coach who can listen to you and really guide you in the right direction, especially when you're first starting out and you don't know what's most comfortable for you. But in general, your cue in any form of vocal practicing is that if it hurts even a little bit, it's probably bad. You might need to try something different. Otherwise, if it hurts after a long time, you need some rest. If it hurts after a really short time, you need to try something different. Yeah. If it hurts after just a little use, that's too much. Tips for protection. A projection. Okay, protection is just a matter of like resting and having good eating and drinking habits, but projection, the best way I can talk about projection, it goes back into what we were talking about earlier, when we were talking about like breathing from the gut. You also want to yell from the gut if you're going to yell when you're singing. A really, really bad habit is placing all of the brunt of that force on your throat. Like, you do not want to yell. I'm almost hesitant to demonstrate it, but I'm hesitant to demonstrate it after talking, and because I'm scared. I feel like it'll mess me up. But if you yell from your throat, if you yell when you're singing, so no yelling, kind of, but also not. You do actually have to belt a little bit to get higher things, but yeah, if you put too much force on your throat when you're singing really loud, that's really bad. If you want to project, more than thinking about it going through your throat really harshly, you want to project it from your gut, and you want to open your mouth wider. Those are the two things that I was taught for this. The ya thing, yes, actually, the raise your ya is a meme, but that unironically is an example of opening up. That's the worst habit you can have when you're singing really loudly or belting, is being too closed. That's a better way to explain it, rather than talking about the throat. Is openness. The more closed it is, the more it's on your throat. The more open it is, the more it's coming from your gut. And that's what that video is a good demonstration of. You can find that yourself. Like, raise your ya. There are a billion reposts of it. I'm sure it's a meme. Everybody reposted this everywhere. You can hear how the student in that video, she's singing very tightly. Like, raise your right finger. But opening that up into more of a circle by like taking it from the gut and opening the mouth really wide. You can open that up and make it really nice. Diaphragm, yes. That's what, whenever I'm talking about the gut, that's what it is to me, the diaphragm. It's all about singing from below rather than the center, like the center of your throat. You want to avoid that. Surprised that because of me. Yeah, it is a meme, but it is unironically a really good example. I don't necessarily agree with everything that particular coach has talked about, but that is a really, really good example, and that is a really good fix as well. Yeah, vocal control, but don't force it. That's the general rule for this question down here in general. You do not want to force anything. Forcing things a little bit as an experiment, that's fine if it's just a mistake, you know, just this once. But if you make a habit of forcing things, you're going to lose your voice. It'll be like imagine a crying cat meme, but no sound comes out. That'll be you. So be very careful. You ever struggle with pressing the voice too much? How can you tell? You can usually tell because it will hurt a little bit. The word I use to describe it is it'll feel tight. It'll feel kind of like, you know, like if you stretch a rubber band, and if you stretch it too far, it starts to go like, and if you go even further than that, it snaps. It feels like that. If you go too far with it, it'll feel like it's just about to snap. And then like if you bring it to the point of snapping, say like, I think the most common experience for this is when people go to their first concert. They'll go to a music concert and they'll yell for the entire track list, singing along at full volume to every single song so they can hear themselves over every other person in the stadium. And then when they get home the next day, they can't speak anymore. That's snapping. And in that scenario, the reason people are able to go that far is because they don't notice the strain, because they're distracted with the good time that they're having. But yeah, if you're ever in that position and you pay attention to your throat, you might feel that it's starting to stretch. It feels like it's been stretched thin almost. That's the best way I can explain it. Other people might explain it a different way though. That's the really difficult part of teaching and explaining vocal theory and music theory for vocalists, is just that a lot of it comes down to feeling, and it won't necessarily feel the same for two different people, even if the basic technique is the same. Like solving that and understanding how to apply it, it's very individual. So it really comes down to having someone that can break through to you in person, I think is the best thing. It's really difficult to make progress in these areas through an explanation online or like a phone call. It helps to have someone there to analyze your technique in real time. You know what I mean? Of course, I can still tell you the bare bones basics in my own weird way. I realize it kind of falls into it's almost like like when Sable explains things with sound effects, onomatopoeia, as if it makes sense. That's what I feel like right now.